All right, good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, and now we're down to 75 days away from the start of the season. The countdown's begun. All right, change in topic today. Originally, I was going to be talking about the Port Huron Prowlers. I will be doing that at a later time, but I thought this was a lot more poignant to talk about. Obviously, this is a big deal. All right. So yes, looks like women are coming into the FPHL. Now, women in pro hockey is not a new thing. Um, it's rare, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the people who have been key figures in the past, and I want to talk about the two signings that the Hat Tricks had this week. All right. So obviously, we know Danbury signed Mariah Fumcari and Taylor Schwan, both goalies, and they're signed to PTOs, so they will be in camp in September, and it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. First time in the Fed, we've seen this, but it's not the first time in pro hockey. Obviously, we saw the gender barrier broken back in 1992 with the expansion Tampa Bay Lightning. And Manon Rhéaume, a very famous Canadian goalie, stood in the pipes for a preseason game against the St. Louis Blues, and 7 saves, 9 opportunities in a period of play, and became the first woman to play in a men's hockey game. So there we go. Yeah, a lot of us older people remember that, and we were wondering, whatever would become of her. She played a few games in the IHL, which back then was the second tier below the NHL. The IHL and the AHL were pretty much on an even keel as the premier developmental league, or having a battle for that position. Of course, the AHL won out due to overexpansion by the IHL and financial difficulties. Nonetheless, all right, so she played a couple games in the ECHL as well, with the Knoxville Cherokees, Nashville Knights, and Tallahassee Tiger Sharks, obviously teams that don't exist today. But nonetheless, at that point in time, they were part of the ECHL. In the IHL, she played with the Atlanta Knights and the Las Vegas Thunder. Later on, she made a comeback, played with the Flint Generals. That was before Flint became a member of the Canadian Junior Hockey League. All right, other people that have crossed over. Danielle Dubé. She played for the West Coast Hockey League back in 2002, 2003. Split the season between the Long Island Ice Dogs and the Bakersfield Condors. Of course, the Condors still exist now in the AHL. Long Beach was an IHL member, and then they switched to the WCHL once the IHL fell apart. Katie Guay, she is currently still in hockey as a linesman, and she became linked with the next person we're going to talk about. But before we get to that, Katie Guay became the first official in a pro men's hockey league, debuting as a linesman for the SPHL on November 21st, 2014. That day was also very significant because that was the day that Shannon Zabatis, who was playing with the Columbus Cottonmouths, the SPHL. She got her first win in the SPHL. Shannon Sabatos was probably the most successful female goalie. Manon Realm kind of set the bar, but Sabatos hurdled over it. She played very, very well, played for parts of 4 seasons in the SPHL, was the regular backup goalie for the Columbus Cottonmouths a couple seasons. And on that day that we talked about before, November 21st of 2014, she won a 5-4 overtime win over Fayetteville. She made 34 saves. A little over a year later, December 27th of 2015, she became the first and currently only female goalie to play in a men's league and earn a shutout. It was a 33 save shutout performance against the Huntsville Havoc. Overall, Sabatos very well, played very well. 51 games played. She had a record of 20, 23, and 6. A little bit under 500, but she had a 341 goals against, very respectful, and a 905 save percentage. So her performance, it wasn't just, a token appearance. She played well and competed well in the SPHL. So new bar set. All right. Obviously, we've had other women involved in hockey, currently do. Haley Wickenheiser, probably one of the most famous women to play hockey, primarily with Team Canada. She's in the Hall of Fame, and well-deservedly so. She had tryouts for 2 seasons with the Philadelphia Flyers in their fall camp. She is now the assistant GM in Toronto. Don't know if you realize that, but yeah, 2022, she ascended to that position. Again, it wasn't just given to her. She worked hard for it. Wickenheiser has always been a great ambassador for the game of hockey in general. So, she's a member of an NHL front office. And we have now Jessica Campbell, who is the assistant coach for this upcoming year for the Seattle Kraken. Going to be assistant coach for head coach Dan Bilesma. So there are women that are constantly breaking the barrier. The barrier is, becoming less so. And, the time is right now where we can see women competing and being a integral, regular part of the men's ice hockey game. All right. So here we go. We fast forward to this last week, and Danbury signs 2 female goalies back-to-back days. First, it was Mariah Fumcari. We'll talk a little bit about her here. Fumcari, 30-year-old. She's competed very well on the international level. She's also played professional women's hockey. Starred at the University of Maine for 4 years. She was the backup there, but nonetheless, played very respectfully, played very well. In 2018, she joined the Canadian Women's Hockey League, which had teams in the United States as well. Played for the Worcester Blades, and then the following season, she joined the NWHL, which is kind of the predecessor to what we saw this last year with the PWHL. The PWHL has really elevated the women's game to another level. We're talking now television contracts. There's major interest. You have women selling out stadiums for games. People want to see it because they see it's good quality hockey. So that old elitist attitude is kind of starting to break down. It's going to take some time for that to happen, but nonetheless, going back to Mariah, she played for the Buffalo Buttes, and then for 2 seasons with the Connecticut Whale. There's the Danbury connection, if you want to talk about a direct connection. So in those 3 seasons overall, she went 8-0, a 401 goals against, and an 878 save percentage, 2 shutouts. All right, so she's obviously asserted herself at the premier women's level. This last year, excuse me, not last year, the year before, she played in Sweden for the Elite Women's League there, played for Team AIK. AIK, the whole team, had a very rough year. So her win-loss record isn't great. It was 1-11. But she posted a 452 goals against, an 877 save percentage. And then last year, she had a couple of, one appearance and a couple of signings in the ECHL. In the preseason of this last year, she signed with the Kalamazoo K-Wings and played in the third period of a game against the Toledo Walleye on October 14th, 2023. Earned a win with 14 saves over the course of the third period and less than a minute of overtime. Earned a win, got third star of the game. Ironically, though, she earned that win and then was cut the next day, which was kind of strange. And there was a lot of feedback that came after that decision by the K-Wings. But nonetheless, she got an opportunity, and everyone there said she played very well. She later signed with the Norfolk Admirals, did not appear in a game, but she was on the Admirals roster. So, she was associated with 2 different ECHL teams. And now she signs with the Danbury Hat. Also signed the next day, this was Friday, Taylor Schwan. Some of you have seen her. She was interviewed by Jack Hudak on the On the Spot Sports podcast on YouTube. Hudak has interviewed a lot of people from the Michigan Independent Hockey League, the Fed, some SP people, some people in juniors. He's interviewed a lot of different people. Very interesting podcast. At one point he interviewed Taylor Schwan. Both he and Taylor tried out for the Quad City Storm in the SP last year. So, there was that opportunity for Schwan, who's 26 years old. She played in 3 different colleges, Chatham University, Newman University, and Millersville University. She ended last year playing in the MIHL, Michigan Independent Hockey League, for the Blue Water Stars. Went 0-2, 605 goals against, 877 save percentage. But that's a men's league. So again, everyone that has been near her or around her, worked with her, has said that she's tenacious as far as her regimen goes, as far as her work ethic. They have nothing but positive things to say about her. So yes, we have 2 goalies that are going to be in the Hat Tricks camp. So the Hat Tricks make history. They're the first to sign some women to their roster. So now I'm hoping that this isn't just a publicity stunt. What little I know about Herm Sorcher, the owner. I don't think it is. I think he sees this as a legitimate opportunity for Fujimigari and for Schwan and for him, the team, and the league on the whole. It's not just a publicity stunt. He sees this as, something that can really help push his team and the Fed to the next level as far as its credibility, as far as its acceptance throughout the hockey world. So I think they will be given a fair shot in camp. I think they will be given a good look. A couple of people have expressed concern about, well, what about locker rooms and this and that. I'm like 99% sure that Sorcher thought about this. He and Billy McCreary and the ownership for the Hat-Tricks thought about this before extending a contract offer to these two ladies. So I'm sure that they already have a contingency plan in place. Again, Sabatos played in the SPHL for 4 seasons. So there's a precedent there where, hey, we have any questions, we can call Doug Price, commissioner of the SPHL. Hey, how did you handle this stuff logistically? How did it all work? What did you do? Okay, we go on from there. Now this is good in that both are goalies, because one concern a lot of people have is, well, the physicality, obviously, and I'm just saying this from a scientific fact standpoint. Generally, men are stronger, faster, more powerful than women physically. All right. Being goalies, physical contact is minimized. It's not eliminated, but I can tell you, I know for a fact that Schwan took some hits in the MIHL. I saw some clips of her performances. She handled herself well. She's a tough gal. I'm sure Fujimigari is too. So is the Fed ready for this? That's a question. Again, I think contingency plans have already been worked on. When I think, again, knowing what little I do about Sorcher and McCreary, I think I can say fairly certainly that they thought things out before they just said, here, sign this paper. I think they probably talked to Don Kiernan and said, hey, this is what we want to do. Do we have a plan for this? Do we have do we have a logistical setup to handle this? And so I think that this is a good thing. Is the Fed ready for it? It should be. In this day and age, I think it should be. It was only a matter of time before another Shannon Sabatos came along. It's been a few years. It's been 6 years since Sabatos retired from play in the SPHL. But again, we saw that she did very well. So we know women can perform at a professional men's level. So it'll be very interesting to see how things happen. I wish both Mariah and Taylor nothing but the best. And, hey, more power to you guys. Saying you guys in a general sense, in a slang sense. So anyway, it'll be very interesting to see how this develops. Very curious, positively curious storyline to this off season and to the coming camps in the fall. So we shall see how things develop and how things turn out. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And yeah, we'll keep you up to date as far as the progress of all this, how the ladies do. And I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. All right, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you're hitting like and subscribe. Tell a friend about the channel. And of course, we're here on YouTube, youtube.com at FPHL Flash. Also, follow me on Facebook. That's where you find most everything that I post. Fed League Flash on Facebook. All right, I'm Gary Ryan for another Fed League Flash. Have yourselves a great week. We will see you Tuesday on Facebook Live for news and notes.